Well, welcome to the University of Louisville School of Music, where we are pleased to welcome members of Quintasonic Brass for their Fall 2017 tour. Here with me are members of the Quintasonic Brass, and welcome.
Thanks.
Thank you for being here. Could you tell us a little bit about how the group was formed and how you selected the name of Quintasonic Brass?
You want to start this?
Yeah.
Or should I?
Sure, you're looking at me.
Yeah.
Well, we each have connections to each other's in various ways, and we've all been playing together, but not as a quintet until last night, actually. It was the first public performance. I actually went to college with Alex, though he was an upperclassman, I was an underclassman, so I mostly just admired him from afar.
I was too cool to talk to
And then kind of got reunited with him at the Blue Lake Fire Arts Camp 10 years ago? 2009, I think
Yeah,
was the
that
year,
sounds right.
maybe. And then the three of us were in the faculty quintet there for a few years. And then also have admired Vince DiMartino from afar for many years.
Pretty much everyone.
Until, and then recently moved to Kentucky, which is where he lives, and took his old job at the University of Kentucky. And then our other Alex Van Duren, Alex the Younger, and Alex Lappins are on faculty together at University of Tennessee. Though Vince and I know him through the Exploring Brass and Grease workshop where he taught. So.
Yeah, and so we all were sort of aware of each other, and the collaborations have been really positive and just really musically invigorating. And when I moved to Tennessee from Arizona, I was looking for some new projects, maybe trying to, just something new and exciting and different that would get me away from my university and sort of out in the world and open some new doors. And I was just thinking, for most of us, brass quintet has been something that really, really matters. One of our favorite venues for performance. We all do all kinds of performing, but quintet is very important to all five of us. So the first person I thought of was, I was looking on a map, well, who am I near? Well, I'm near Jason. And so he and I started talking about it. We started, okay, who are our options? Well, Vince DiMartino might be available. Well, that's a pretty easy decision. And then, of course, we talked, we so much enjoyed working with Matt Hayslip in Michigan. And we were talking about trombone players, and it's just, trying to get different people from different schools. But Alex Van Duren, he's not here right now. He's trying to sober up for lunch. But I'm kidding. Alex Van Duren is just one of the most exciting and intelligent and wise and effective trombone players that I've ever met. So we just, and this is something these guys knew as well as I did, so we couldn't resist having him in the group too. And the name.
Vince came up with the name.
Vince.
No, it was dinner. Of course, music is something you do in between meals. So we were having our meal in between recording session. And we just finished the last recording session, basically, and we're going to do some touch-ups the next day. And we sit in the meal and say, well, gosh, we don't really have a name. I said, well, I don't know. So we started picking some names, and Matt, he had his phone, he was looking on it, and everybody had their phones out and checked to see if anybody had those names. So we just kept saying, this brass, that brass, no, that's somebody's got that. I said, okay, listen. So I said, well, what's five? Let's see. So we said, Quinta brass? No, that somebody had that, I think. So I went, what about Quintasonic? And they said, nobody seems to have that. Okay, good, let's do it.
Yeah, it was like a 2-hour dinner.
Yeah.
We had a great meal, and we came up with so many awesome names that were already taken.
We're taken, yeah.
So Quintasonic, actually, I think we're all pretty fond of it, but it was a bit of a journey.
So Sound of Five, Quintasonic, Sound of Five. So yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
The fun part for me is to be around really young and vigorous musicians. And I mean, I have things I do and I love to do, and I've developed over the years as a teacher and a soloist. But it's really fun when you're playing with new people and you get to try new things. And playing brass quintet is challenging for me at this point, but I love it. I mean, I always have loved it. It's the key to success for any musician to play chamber music, because the chamber music is, you have to be there the whole time. You can't sit and count bars. Not really. In an orchestra or something, you can sit there as a brass player, we can sit there for 100 bars a lot of times and not play. And sometimes you can sort of tune out, and hopefully not all the time, but But in a brass quintet, you just can't do that. And the concentration is good. At my age, the concentration is good for me. Keep me on the straight and narrow, you know, and get me away from things that I can do because I've been doing them for a long time, and puts me back into a very challenging setting. And I love to practice, and I always have. So it gives me something new, like the brass quintet music's on the stand. And I don't practice it every day, but I look at it, and then I said, yeah, I really need to practice on this one today. And then I just take one piece and I listen to it and I work on it. And I said, yeah, I really need to do this differently. I need to do this. And that's, I think, for any musician or any person, you know, when you stop trying to go forward, you know, and in music, it's really an inverted pyramid. I mean, it's unbelievable. I mean, we're responsible for everything we've learned every day.
Yes.
Whereas, you know, some courses that you teach, like, you know, they're kind of terminal in a not so good sense, is the material is repeated, and especially lecture classes and things like that, you know, not that the material isn't important or anything, it is, but that type of class has a window almost, you know, and you dabble a little before it, you dabble a little bit after it, but basically you're just doing this one thing, you know. But in applied music, especially, and in chamber music, you're constantly calling on everything that you've ever learned: theory, history, you know, sociology, working with people. You can't just sit in a room and do research by yourself. You're doing it on the spot, and you're finding new ways to play things every time. It's like, you know, taking a different trip, and you know, the piece is the same, but it kind of changes all the time. That's really cool.
Yeah, and you had touched on one of the other questions I wanted to ask you about. How important are chamber ensembles in the realm of solo repertoire and large ensemble repertoire? So,
Interesting question. Yeah, I'd say that it's a huge part of something that soloists do. You'll have concerts, for instance, where there's a famous soloist who will play in a chamber music setting, and in this case, we've got Vince DiMartino, who's a famous soloist. And he's just talked about the chamber music experience and the importance of that for him as a soloist. And we're college teachers and we're soloists as well in our positions at our universities. And when we get a chance to perform as a group, it's just such an incredible experience to perform with people of this friendship and of this caliber. It's awesome.
Yeah, chamber music for me has always been the center point. It's the reason I dedicated my life to music rather than having it be a pastime. And you mentioned the soloist role. I've got a couple of things coming up in the spring where I'm playing as a soloist with large ensembles. And that's exciting and it's cool, but for me it's almost kind of a drag because I don't want to be the lead guy. I want the art of collaboration and partnership is for me the great substance of music making. And large ensembles can be like that. The Cleveland Orchestra is a great example of a 90-piece group of people that play like a chamber ensemble. Yeah, I just think chamber music is kind of the shining heart of the entire music world.
Another aspect of that too is the discipline to really explore in a narrow. It's easy to just be yourself and, you know, be a soloist, and you know, you have a very unique character about your playing. People recognize it. Somebody like Clark Terry, great jazz, he plays 3 notes and everybody goes, "Oh, that's Clark Terry." You know, that's great in itself because that's such a depth of development in one way. But for me, the release, the discipline of narrowing down what I have to say actually frees you up to do more with yourself too, because that discipline is, I think, a good thing. You know, is to try to do things a certain way. To take, you know, like when I teach improvisation, I say, well, okay, why don't you play a solo in this, but you can only play between C and the staff and G. You have a perfect fourth to work in, and that's all. And then I said, when you go outside, the buzzer's going to go off because you went outside the restricted zone.
the parameters, yeah.
Yeah, the parameters. So, you know, if you can, you know, do that, and every piece of this literature has not a restriction, but a box. Sometimes it's a very small one. So in order to develop within inside of that, you have to kind of get every nook and cranny of what's going on, and not use all the elements that you have at your disposal. To play like a trumpet, you can play on a football field. I've done that, I don't know how many times. I love doing it. But it's a whole different thing, But to be sotto voce while the horn's playing a solo, and make sure that nobody listens to anything but the horn, well, it's more of a challenge for me, and for anybody.
Yeah.
He's in the middle, and we're on top and bottom of him, and he's trying to play, so we have to make sure that the setting is just right so he feels comfortable. And then we feel comfortable. So it's really cool. And you get a great sense of satisfaction being a supporting person. To make somebody, other people feel great just playing solos, singing solos, piano soloists and stuff. But for me, as all of us, we just enjoy this part of it. Just passing the ball over and saying, okay, shoot. That's great. It's a great feeling, and a challenging one, because it evolves through each piece. I guess you can think about the perfect performance, but every performance is perfect in our thought process, and I think that's why I look at it. Sometimes they're even stunning, getting all the notes right and everything, but that's really not the developmental part of it as a chamber ensemble. You can sit down and work out a solo trumpet piece. Like I have a couple that I carry around with me because sometimes I do master classes. And the first thing I usually do is start. While they're clapping, I start playing. And everybody stops immediately. And I have a piece that I can project a certain, image or whatever. And it's one person, and I get to do that. But this part of it is really developmental and exhilarating when you finish. That's what I was thinking about last night when we finished the first part. I said, boy, I don't get to feel that way that often. That's the way I was going. I really like that.
It's awesome.
But it's like a personal thing for each of us, and to satisfy that, and to find 4 other people that do that the same, have that same giving feeling, and that's not easy to do. I played in a quintet for about 17 years, another quintet like this, wonderful people called Millennium Brass, and this is just like I'm the senior citizen of this group, so. But it's just wonderful, to do this.
You had mentioned being in a narrow field, but also being able to play supportive roles. And I notice your program has a variety of different pieces made by arrangements by you guys. How do you play such a diverse repertoire and be able to handle being in a supportive role and being in a leading role and being able to mimic whatever ensemble you're trying to mimic through an arrangement or a transcription?
I think one of the beauties of a brass quintet is its versatility. And as you mentioned tonight, we're doing, Baroque music, we're doing jazz, we're playing transcription of a musical, and some standard repertoire written specifically for a brass quintet, like the Ewald Brass Quintet, or the Kevin McKee Escape is originally written for a brass quintet. And so part of the beauties of the ensemble itself stems from our ability to just sound like a big band, or sound like a wind ensemble, or sound like a brass quintet, As far as like selecting the repertoire, lots of emails and suggestions, and most all of us have done composing and arranging, and I play natural trumpet, and I always look for opportunities to play that instrument. So one of the pieces in the program is a piece I arranged so I can kind of sneak the natural trumpet into the brass quintet, because it wasn't originally intended to be used in that ensemble. And Vince has a really great arrangement of the Shaker Melody Simple Gifts. We're going to play in the second half. We're not playing any of these guys' tunes tonight, but they've both written lots of stuff, and I'm sure the Cathedral Fanfare will be on the next program we take off, or my next piece. But it's really fun with repertoire selection, because of just the diversity, and Vince was talking about all the expressions and emotions you can get from a brass quintet. I think part of that's the beauty of the repertoire and the diversity of the repertoire.
Good. Well, thank you very much for being here. I'm assuming you have a website. I just forgot about what it was. So would you be
Well,
able to tell us?
We have a YouTube page and
Okay.
we have a Facebook page, and really this is our first few days. We did some reporting and rehearsing about a year and a half ago, but I mean this right now is pretty much the infancy of this brass quintet. So check out YouTube, check out Facebook, and just keep watching as we're going to keep moving forward.
Yeah.
All right.
And if you're in this area, stop by here at U of L. It's a wonderful school, wonderful teachers. I've been in Kentucky for 45 years, since Leon Rapier was the trumpet teacher here, and he was one of the finest gentlemen I know, and Mike Tunnell. And now we have Reese Land, and many other areas of the school are wonderful, along with the composition prize, the Graumeier, and all that. U of L has been a really groundbreaking, as well as the Louisville Orchestra, things like that. So if you're listening to this, make sure, and you live in this area, make sure you take advantage of all the wonderful things here.
It's an amazing resource.
Well, thank you. And thank you for being here. And we wish you luck with your fall 2017 tour. And I see you're scheduling for the spring 2018.
Yeah, onward and upward.
All righty.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.